Let's begin with hybridization. Hybridization is a process in which intermixing of two or more pure atomic orbitals of an atom with almost same energy to give the same number of identical and degenerate new type of orbitals known as hybridization. The new orbitals formed are also known as hybrid orbitals. So the requirement of atomic orbitals to undergo hybridization are the atomic orbitals of same atom with almost same energy can only participate in hybridization. The full-filled and half-filled or even empty orbitals can also undergo hybridization provided they have almost equal energy. The hybridization is a mixture of orbitals of same atom only. The combination of orbitals belonging to different atoms is called bonding. The characteristics of hybridization. The new orbitals that are formed due to intermixing of atomic orbitals are also known as hybrid orbitals, which have mixed characters of atomic orbitals. The shapes of hybrid orbitals are identical. Usually they have one big lobe associated with a small lobe on the other side. The hybrid orbitals are degenerate, that is, they are associated with same energy. So based on the type and number of orbitals, the hybridization can be further divided into following. sp hybridization, so based on which kind of orbit which is involved in the hybridization process, which will follow up as the type of hybridization. So 1s and 1p will have sp hybridization, and 1s with 2p orbitals will follow up as sp2 hybridization, and 1s with 3p orbitals as sp3 hybridization, and 1s, 3p and 1d orbitals as sp3d hybridization, and 1s, 3p and 2d orbitals as sp3d2 hybridization, and 1s, 3p and 3d orbitals as sp3d3 hybridization. So based on all those hybridization, we have examples of methane, ammonia, water molecule, ethane, ethylene, all for different hybridization. So based on those hybridization, what we have studied, so based on that, these molecules also will undergo one of those hybridization to form a molecule. Now let's have intro about the resonance. So resonance will happen wherever the delocalized electrons which is existing in the conjugate double bond system. So based on that electron delocalization, the particular compound will resonate, and we never denote it as a stable bond. It is a delocalized bond, so we usually put it as round, or the double lines which are denoted in the benzene ring, whose arrow marks is provided to the next bond. So which means the electrons are delocalized in the conjugated double bond system. So only the conjugated double bond system containing compounds can resonate, and it is denoted by M. So let's see the introduction of molecular orbital theory. Here the molecular orbital is formed when those two atomic orbitals combine to form a molecular orbital. And here the bond molecular orbitals will be divided into bonding and antibonding orbitals. In case of bonding orbitals, the electron in the orbital spend more of their time in the region directly between the two nucleus. If the electron spends longer time between those two nuclei, we call it as bonding molecular orbital, and it is denoted by sigma. Whereas if the electrons are present other than the nuclear region, between the nuclear region, so apart from the between the nuclear region, if the electron spends more time in some other region in the orbit, they are called as antibonding molecular orbital, and it is denoted by sigma star. And here in the diagram, we could able to see the bonding molecular orbital, which is denoted by sigma, where the electron spends most of its times between the nucleus. Whereas in case of antibonding, the electron is not spending the time between the nuclei. Instead, it is present somewhere away from between the nucleus. So it is denoted as, or it is denoted by antibonding molecular orbital. So most of the important features are the molecular orbital which is formed. The number of molecular orbital it is formed is exactly equal to the number of atomic orbital which are combined. So if two atomic orbitals are combined, two molecular orbitals will be formed. And the energy of non-bonding orbitals will remain the same as compared to the bonding molecular orbital. The energy of bonding molecular orbital is lower than their non-bonding counterpart, while the energy of antibonding molecular orbital is always higher than that of the non-bonding orbital. So these are the major features of molecular orbital theory. Let's see the different properties of covalent compounds. So the covalent compounds will exert different properties based on the covalent bond which is present in the particular compound, which includes it has lower melting point and boiling point, and also it has lower enthalpies of fusion and vaporization, and it tends to be soft and relatively flexible, and it is more flammable than ionic compounds. And covalent compounds does not conduct electricity, and it also does not dissolve in water well. And also we study based on the covalent bond length as well as the bond angle. Bond length is the distance between the two nuclei which is forming the covalent bond, and always it is measured in either meters or picometers. Whereas bond angle is the angle formed between the covalent bonds. So here we have two covalent bonds. So between the covalent bonds, whatever the angle is formed, that angle we call it as bond angle. In case of water molecule, it is 104.5 degree angle. Whereas polarity of the molecule, so the polarity of the molecule will be decided by three factors. One is strength, length, and polarity. And here we just talk about the polarity. The polarity of a bond is actually the distribution of electrical charge over the atoms joined by the bond. In hydrogen chloride, for example, the hydrogen bond is slightly positively charged, whereas the chlorine atom is slightly negatively charged. That is because of the electronegativity of both chlorine as well as your hydrogen atom. So the difference in the electronegativity of those two atoms will confer the partial positive charge as well as the partial negative charge to the species that contributes to the polarity of the particular molecule. And the polarity is expressed, the magnitude is expressed as dipole moment, which is mu, and which is defined as the product of magnitude of the partial charges. So let's talk about coordinate bond. So coordinate bond also is one of the types of covalent bond, but here instead of mutual sharing of electrons, here the electron pair is shared but only from one atom. So only one atom actually shares the electron and it forms the covalent bond. So this covalent coordinate bond is also called as dative bond or dipolar bond, and this is also little strong, and this bond is formed between non-metals such as hydrogen atom and the ligand. So the ligand can be anything that can interact with the metal ion so that the coordinate bond is formed. The characteristics of coordinate bond, which includes the donor atom that shares the pair of the electron from itself to the other atom acts as acceptor atom, which receives the electron pair to attain the stability. And here also, after the formation of a coordinate bond, the molecule will attain stability. The coordinate bond is represented by a small line segment with an arrow pointed to the acceptor indicating the direction of sharing of the electron pair. So which is sharing from there where the arrow mark is followed up, which will be acting as the acceptor. By sharing and the receiving the electron pair, the donor and acceptor attains actually the stability. So here the coordinate bond corresponds to the Lewis theory of chemical bonding. And here we'll also study about the non-covalent or the low energy bonds, which we call it as weaker bonds, are the secondary interactions. The secondary interaction which includes the van der Waals forces. So under van der Waals forces, we have dipole-dipole forces, London dispersion forces. So these forces will be formed when two molecules come closer to each other. And once if it comes closer to each other, the interaction between one molecule and the other molecule should be balancing both the repulsive and attractive forces. So once if the molecules are coming closer to each other, there will be repulsion of the electrons which is present in the outermost shell. So that here the balance should happen between the attractive force as well as the repulsive force to attain a particular balance that forms the dipole-dipole force as well as the London dispersion. And here the dipole-dipole forces are formed between positive hydrogen atom and partially negative chloride atom. Whereas here in case of this London dispersion, it usually happens between the atom and between the non-polar molecule as a result of the moment of the electron in the particular atom. And including the hydrogen bond is also a non-covalent interaction. And here the hydrogen bond will be formed between the hydrogen atom, which is covalently linked to the other atom or electronegative atom, and the other electronegative atom, which means hydrogen atom with the electronegative atom. If a bond is formed, you call it as hydrogen bond, and the strength of the hydrogen bond ranges from 4 kilojoules to 50 kilojoules per mole. It depends on which kind of electronegative atom which is involved in the formation of hydrogen bond. There are two types of hydrogen bonds which can be formed. One is intermolecular hydrogen bond. The other one is intramolecular hydrogen bond. The intermolecular hydrogen bond will be formed between two different species or between two substances. Those are little dissimilar in nature, or sometimes it may be different molecules, biomolecules. So the intermolecular hydrogen bond will connect one molecule or one substance with the other substance. Whereas the intramolecular hydrogen bond, it is within the molecule. So within this particular protein or within the particular biomolecule, if the interaction or if the hydrogen bond is formed or if the hydrogen bond stabilizes, you call it as intramolecular hydrogen bond. And this intramolecular hydrogen bond plays a very important role in the biomolecules, three-dimensional conformation, and as well as the biological activity of the intermolecular hydrogen bonds. And here we can see both inter and intra hydrogen bond species. And here I have shown intra because it is happening between the same molecule, between the same species, you get the hydrogen bond. And mostly the hydrogen bond is very important to maintain the RNA and DNA secondary structures. Apart from the DNA, RNA secondary structures, it is also very important to have the biologically functional three-dimensional protein conformation stability. So this also confers the stability of proteins too. Thank you.